on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on the podcast. It is Friday the 13th. March 13th, 2020. And this is episode 317, part number 1 of the number 1 podcast in all of the YWC. That is the YouTube wrestling community. This is Off the Script. Man, it's crazy. I really don't even know what to think in regards to everything. I feel like I'm watching an episode of The Walking Dead. I'm waiting for Negan to come out here and just start baseball batting people in the head, stealing their goods. Certainly what it looks like when you go to Walmart. But I had trouble formatting this show today, man, because of what is going on. The world is in a absolute panic right now. Everything has just ceased to exist. Everything has just stopped. Literally everything that you've come to know and love has been put on hiatus. Everything has just come to a screeching halt. Subways potentially closing this weekend in New York City. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. People working from home. Basketball, baseball, hockey have all, not the MLB, because the MLB season has not started yet, but they have suspended their opening day, which I very much look forward to every single year. The NBA and the NHL have suspended their season. The XFL has suspended their season. Soccer, PGA, tennis, you name it. You name it. Everything. Zoos across the United States. Everything is closing. National musicians and national music acts stopping and canceling full-blown tours because of this nonsense. It's crazy. I had trouble formatting the show today because that's all that's in the news. That's all that's anywhere when you look up anything on the internet, including professional wrestling. It's about one thing and one thing only. Is Wrestlemania going to be canceled due to the outbreak that we are just in the midst of? And I know a lot of people look forward to this podcast, and I know a lot of people are probably out there preparing themselves for the worst. I know a lot of people are out there just looking for a possible escape to whatever is going on. I know you don't need me to reiterate what you've already heard. I will be talking about whatever is going on in Tampa because this is a pro wrestling podcast and WrestleMania is the biggest wrestling show of the entire year. Not only for WWE, but for everybody in the community, for podcasters like me. It's the most important season of the year. This is when we make the bulk of our earnings on YouTube doing this. This is when advertisements start to pick up. This is when ad revenue starts to get to that nice peak on YouTube. I don't want WrestleMania to be canceled. I could joke around all day long about WrestleMania being canceled with the shit card that they got in Tampa. I could go on all day about how WrestleMania deserves to be canceled because of Goldberg and Roman Reigns main eventing WrestleMania. I could do all that stuff. That's easy. That's easy. I could take that cheap way out and really make a fun time out of all this, but I won't do that. I won't do that. I'll throw my jabs in there, here and there, believe me, but I want to use this to talk about the positive. I want to talk about what is going on coming out of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and AEW. I want to make sure you guys are aware that shows are being rescheduled as we speak. I want to make sure you guys, if you are watching me, who have tickets potentially to these shows, I want to give you guys the proper information. I want to go about, ultimately my goal here is, before I even hit record, I wanted to go into this with the mindset of just a normal show, as if there was nothing going on in the world. I want to use this platform for you guys to just block out all the negative that you're hearing on the news and all the negative that you're hearing on social media about everything. I want you to come here and I want you to talk about pro wrestling. I want to use this here. I want to use this podcast where you guys could think about pro wrestling and what is to come and what is to be and the rumors and speculation. I want everybody to just block yourselves out of all that bullshit that you're hearing everywhere for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just enjoy yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves in the comment section. Tomorrow, with that being said, I'm going about the Friday show like I usually do, but for Friday, we're good. Saturday, I am going to talk about what's coming out of Tampa. I got news after news after news after news, with the news that just broke literally an hour ago before I started recording this show. It's Thursday right now around 8:30. Tampa is waiting another week to discuss whether WrestleMania should be postponed or canceled. WWE has come up with a contingency plan, a backup plan. If that is the case, it's not even in the hands of WWE or Vince McMahon at this point. Tampa could do all they want and say all they want, but it's going to come down to what is the right decision and what is in the best interest of everybody's health. And we're going to go over that on Saturday. We're going to go over the potential of WrestleMania being canceled. We're going to go over the delay in WrestleMania being canceled. And the one thing that I really want to focus on for tomorrow, which is why I'm saving all of this stuff for Saturday's episode, is if WWE has to push back WrestleMania, where I'm hearing if they are going to cancel WrestleMania on April 5th, the contingency plan is maybe June or July. If WWE has to do that realistically, do they take all of this time off of TV? Do they go into a hiatus? Do they go into an off season? Probably not with the TV deals that they have lined up with Fox and the USA Network, NBC Universal. More than likely not. I think there's a 0% chance of that happening. But what if WWE has to push WrestleMania back to the summer for the first time ever? A June or July WrestleMania. What if that is the case? What does WWE do? What do they do with the current storylines? So we're going to devise, and I'm going to write up some stuff about what I think WWE should do, what I think they will do, and we'll make fun of it. We'll have fun of it. I'm not going to make fun of the situation, but we'll have fun with the topic and really make it a topical discussion. So what I'm going to do, in theory, in simpler terms, Friday's show today, we're going to go about doing the regular thing as if nothing is going on. It's just me and you guys talking about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live and NXT and AEW and all that stuff. And then I got a big rumor going on, or a big rumor in the community right now about a potential casket match with AJ Styles and The Undertaker at WrestleMania, whenever WrestleMania is indeed taking place. So that's going to be the format of the show this weekend. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on the podcast. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys also hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you know how to certainly do that. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And if you want to go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed, I got Monday Night Raw, I got NXT, and that great brawl between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa at the Performance Center. Unbelievable stuff. Make sure you guys go and check that out along with the AEW Dynamite and everything else that you might have missed on the channel. Link down below for everything you need there so you guys can have easy access. And, as always, today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at The Ridge, simplifying your life in the best way possible. The Ridge. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off anything on Ridge.com. Let's start the show off, as always, man, with SmackDown. SmackDown drew its lowest rating since January on Friday's show. Now, that comes to no surprise to me, and the show deserved the lowest rating since January. I don't know if you guys were paying attention on Friday, but I was in the middle of falling asleep. I slept with one eye open to watch this garbage. And I realized and I seen on Friday, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but there was not one singles match on SmackDown at all last Friday. It was all tag team matches. How is that exactly building towards WrestleMania? I don't know. This is what WWE gets when they have a Saudi showdown. This is what WWE gets when they have an Elimination Chamber 2 weeks apart. This is what happens. They have ultimately just thrown WrestleMania's build out the window until we get through these shows. Now, if they did what I wanted them to do, is eliminate one of these other pay-per-views during the year, like an Extreme Rules. Who the fuck cares about an Extreme Rules or a Battleground? I would even go to the lengths of eliminating Money in the Bank. I don't even know why Money in the Bank is its own pay-per-view. Why? We have to have 2 or 3 Money in the Bank matches? I don't get it. I really don't understand it. I would eliminate Money in the Bank. Worst case scenario, put the Money in the Bank ladder match back at WrestleMania and have it be the one match that is dual branded on the show, and the winner of that match at that show gets the briefcase for their respective brand. That's as simple could be, folks. I'd get rid of it. I'd get rid of an Extreme Rules or a Money in the Bank or something like that. And I would, in replace, put the Super Showdown. Now, or Crown Jewel, or whatever they're calling these shows. Now, I would do that because they opted to do a Saudi show in February. And this obviously killed them because 2 weeks later, in March, the first week of March, we had the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber was usually right in the middle of February, leaving WWE to come up with their remainder of plans at the Elimination Chamber. At the end of that show, they would go on into the rest of February, all of March, and then that first week of April. And they had nothing on the mind but WrestleMania. This year, they couldn't do that. This year, they had to legitimately wait. They started to build for WrestleMania. They started to announce matches, but the builds to these matches at WrestleMania really aren't making anybody feel excited. So now, with everything in the rearview mirror, we have WrestleMania season and WrestleMania build. I wouldn't even say WrestleMania season because it certainly doesn't feel like it. WrestleMania build. I wouldn't even say they're building towards WrestleMania. But you guys get the point. We finally have WWE focusing on that one pay-per-view. This is their problem. This is their problem. You built towards an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that you put no effort into promoting. You put no effort into giving a shit about any of these matches on the show. You didn't go to any length to make these matches feel important. You were putting the women in an Elimination Chamber to decide who fights Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and it was just another match to you people. Yes, it was predictable with Shayna Baszler being in there, but there was no surprises. It was very predictable, and nobody cared. Because you haven't booked Shayna Baszler in the way that Shayna Baszler should be booked. You haven't booked Becky Lynch at all the way Becky Lynch should be booked. And if that's your match at WrestleMania and these two women are on a collision course, they're both being booked poorly. So who realistically is going to care about the Elimination Chamber? I, for one, did not. There's only one thing I liked about that Elimination Chamber, and that was Shayna Baszler looking dominant. And we'll talk about that as we get on with the podcast today, but this is why SmackDown drew its lowest rating. What is there to be invested in? And then you're going to get the people when Goldberg comes back to SmackDown and John Cena comes back to SmackDown and Roman Reigns and Goldberg are in the ring with the contract signing and all this other shit. Then you're going to get the cretins on social media who are like, oh, look at the SmackDown rating. It was a 2.9. Yeah, it was a 2.9 because you had Bill fucking Goldberg on the show. That's why. And those are the people that are A, dumb, and B, WWE has to resort to using Bill Goldberg to generate a rating. Meanwhile, they should be putting all that effort into the talent that they actually have on the show now so that they can accumulate a rating with their talent now. How is that a win-win situation? You're going to boast about ratings with a guy who A, doesn't deserve the title, and B, is going to disappear after WrestleMania? How is that a win for WWE? I don't get these people. I really don't. It's like they got stock in the company, or the company's paying them to market WWE. It's fucking ridiculous. You got these idiots on social media doing PR work for free. And what is it getting you? You look like a complete buffoon. SmackDown averaged 2.579 million viewers the last week. You know what they got this week? 2.453 million viewers, down 10%. The 10% drop-off for the second hour was a 2.326. That portion of the show was mainly the tag team gauntlet match that featured teams that will be competing in the SmackDown Tag Team Elimination Chamber match at the Chamber. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, who I shall not call Robert, won the gauntlet match, and they were the final team inside the Elimination Chamber. SmackDown did a 0.7 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, tied for its lowest number of 2020, and averaged a 0.4 rating in the 18 to 34, matching the lowest number in that category since the move to Fox in October. SmackDown tied with several other shows for the top rank in 18 to 34, but trailed ABC's Shark Tank. Someone should throw Vince McMahon into the fucking Shark Tank. 18 to 49, which did a 0.8 in that demographic. In terms of total viewers, SmackDown was very well behind every other show on major networks. I'm not surprised. WWE takes all their young talent for granted, and they don't do anything to make them feel special. All because they're pushing Otis and Dolph and Bobby Roode and Mandy Rose in this love story on SmackDown. You think people are going to be interested in it? It hasn't been a huge thing that they're promoting out there. It's for us dummies who like that type of shit and are finding interest in this, because WWE is going about booking WrestleMania season in the most cringe-like way, and we actually like Otis. We want to see Otis successful. We want to see Otis get the girl. We want to see Otis and Tucker and Heavy Machinery gets the one-up over the jerks and Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. But that's not going to generate rating. WWE isn't doing anything to push their SmackDown roster. Half the fucking roster's not even on TV. This is a thing I mention every single week when I do the podcast. Where is Mustafa Ali? He's only one of many. One of many. So I don't understand this. It's the same old faces every single week. Nothing's new. There's characters that nobody gives a shit about. SmackDown, the worst show on TV. What do you want me to say? Now, this is the good stuff. We know SmackDown sucks. This is the good stuff. It's going to be very odd. It's going to be very bizarre to watch SmackDown on Friday, because they will not be emanating from Detroit, Michigan at the Little Caesars Arena. I have never had a slice of Little Caesars pizza in my entire life, and I'm pretty sure I will not be venturing down that rabbit hole. It's not pizza to me, bro. I'll show you some real fucking pizza, bro. It's not Little Caesars. Anyway, now I'm hungry for pizza. But I'm going to the gym. I'm on somewhat of a diet. I can't have pizza. Maybe on my cheat day, I'll have some pizza. But SmackDown, in all seriousness, not in Detroit, Michigan. They are moving SmackDown on Friday. As you see tonight, SmackDown is emanating from the WWE Performance Center. It's going to be very interesting to see Roman Reigns and John Cena and Bray Wyatt at the Performance Center. The Usos at the Performance Center. Some of these guys have probably never even been on TV at the Performance Center. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's going to be like a mix of a SmackDown show mixed with an NXT vibe. But it's not going to be as good as NXT. And the crowd, they might be a little bit more enthusiastic because something like this has never happened before. So it's going to be very interesting. It's not going to be a casual fucking crowd. It's going to be 400 or 500 different people in a confined space that are fans of the WWE product who have never even thought something like this would happen. So they're going to bring their A game. And it's going to be a very exciting night. That doesn't mean it's going to be a good night. It's not going to mean WWE is going to creatively book this show to be a masterpiece. It's just going to be different. And I get excited for different. I get excited for WWE going out of their comfort zone. So we'll see how it comes off on TV. But NXT, they ran a great show on Wednesday. I don't know how they will piece the Performance Center together after what Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa did on Wednesday night, but that remains to be seen. But according to PW Insider, there were discussions going back and forth about moving the show from Detroit to Orlando, but the final decision was not made until this afternoon. The move was made amidst the outbreak. And local government officials are advising against large public gatherings. SmackDown will now emanate from the Performance Center on Friday on Fox at 8 p.m. And it's going to be something different. And I'm actually looking forward to watching the show just based off that aspect alone. Now, this is not the only show in which WWE might be having move to the Performance Center, at least for the time being. Monday Night Raw. Again, this is why I saved most of this outbreak talk and WrestleMania and all these cancellations and movements about what WWE is doing till tomorrow. Because it's Thursday now going on 9 o'clock, and Friday afternoon is when they'll make an official announcement about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is supposed to emanate from Pittsburgh. It's going to be 3/16 day. Stone Cold is supposed to be on Monday Night Raw with The Undertaker too. I don't know what Stone Cold is going to be there for. He'll probably end up doing something with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, possibly. Maybe interviewing them. Maybe we get a little bit of the Stone Cold sessions on Monday Night Raw, or he might just be there to promote his sit-down with Bret the Hitman Hart, which I'm incredibly interested in. That is happening on the Stone Cold podcast sessions there, the Broken Skull sessions on the WWE Network. But it's going to be very interesting to see all of that emanate from the performance. And can you imagine that? Jesus Christ, maybe I should make a trip down to Orlando. I might actually enjoy the fucking show at that point. But Friday is going to be the day where they make an official announcement as where Monday Night Raw will end up. So we could see WWE programming all week emanate from the Performance Center. Wednesday with NXT, Friday from SmackDown, and then Monday from Raw. So NXT should be back at Full Sail on Wednesday because Full Sail had some prior commitments, some award show that went on at Full Sail University, so WWE could not get into the venue there. So they moved to the Performance Center, and it was a very good show. It came off just like as if it was at Full Sail. Really no difference whatsoever. The crowd was lively. It was a different look and a different take. And it was a breath of fresh air almost, moving away from Full Sail just for the night. So I will keep you guys updated on any other WWE shows being canceled, moved, and etc. on Saturday's show. But that is confirmed. So tonight when you see SmackDown, don't be alarmed. It's nothing more than the Performance Center. And that's where WWE has its magic, I was going to say, but it is magic for the time being, but then when they graduate to the main roster, it's a nightmare. So there you go. WWE has announced John Cena, like I mentioned, for SmackDown. John Cena returns this Friday. 16-time world champion John Cena heads to SmackDown ahead of his WrestleMania match with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. What will the 16-time world champion have to say in response to Bray Wyatt, his WrestleMania opponent? There are 4 more episodes of SmackDown before WrestleMania. There has been very little build-up for the John Cena-Bray Wyatt match, so WWE needs to use this time to properly tell a story. Do I give them any benefit of the doubt? Of course not. Of course not. Cena and Wyatt had an infamous feud that resulted in Bray Wyatt losing and ultimately ruined his career at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans in 2014. This was arguably when Wyatt was at his hottest, and people were excited to see him defeat John Cena and ascend to the next level. But of course, John Cena defeated Bray Wyatt, and the Wyatt family soon then disbanded. Wyatt brought this up last week on the Firefly Funhouse. He mentioned that John Cena ruined his personal and professional life by defeating him at WrestleMania, but now he has forgiven him. Are you going to forgive Bill Goldberg as well for taking the Universal title from you? That's what I'm still waiting on. Don't know how Bray Wyatt just goes from losing to Goldberg, complaining on Twitter, and then has his eyes focused on getting his win back from John Cena that happened 6 years ago. Doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of everything here. That's just me. I still, to this day, and I will not let this go until WrestleMania season is over with, Bray Wyatt and John Cena should be for the Universal Championship. The story would be greater if that was the case. But alas, WWE has fucked up the entire card. Not surprised by that whatsoever. So hopefully WWE uses this time for John Cena and Bray Wyatt to build. I'd love to know what John Cena has to say about Bray Wyatt saying that John Cena ruined his life professionally and personally. So we'll see what happens. I hope it's better than what John Cena cut as far as his promo goes a couple of weeks ago, where he was nothing more than a hypocritical douche. Seriously, WrestleMania spots are to be worked for. I think WrestleMania this year should be without John Cena. Right? I am about the future. And then he goes up the ramp and he's leaving, and Wyatt comes out and points to the fucking WrestleMania logo, and then John Cena does one of these, and he ultimately wiped away everything he just said 60 seconds ago in the ring. Future? Yeah, he's the future, but I think his future was already killed in Saudi Arabia, so what future does Bray Wyatt have left, right? WrestleMania is about the future. Really, John? I don't know if you looked up and down the fucking card, but all the top 7 matches, they include part-timers. What future? What future? What a dummy. And then WrestleMania matches are to be worked hard for. Yeah, because all you got to do is this, and poof, you got a WrestleMania match. Leah, let's tip the cap. I could tip my fucking cap, and I should be in the fucking main event. John Cena's on SmackDown. Hopefully they use this time wisely in his feud with Bray Wyatt. SmackDown. Another individual will be making her return to SmackDown on Friday, and that is Paige. Paige, a WWE backstage correspondent. She will be on SmackDown to get in the face and discuss whatever's going on with Bayley. Now, I don't know what this means. I heard rumors going back and forth all week that Bayley is getting ready to go one-on-one with Paige at WrestleMania, that WWE is going to clear Paige to wrestle, being that they cleared Edge for Randy Orton. Paige could be the next in line. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think that they're using Paige, who is incredibly over with the WWE roster. Everybody loves Paige, right? I could be wrong. You might not like Paige at all, but I would say Paige is a very likable individual, right? We want to see Paige back in the ring. We know Paige's story. We know how heartbroken Paige is to not be wrestling in WWE. I don't think WWE is going to clear Paige for a WrestleMania match. I think it's too soon. If you want to do something like that, then Paige realistically would be brought back in the Royal Rumble like Edge and be given a big spotlight there, and then maybe be given a WrestleMania match in April. WWE's not bringing Paige to SmackDown to put her in a WrestleMania match 3 weeks before WrestleMania. Sorry, it's not going to happen. So all the rumors are dead to me. They're nothing more than that. Rumors and speculation. Paige is not coming back. Paige, to me, is simply being used in this situation with Bayley because the SmackDown women's roster right now, as it sits, is completely irrelevant. It is completely dead. So Paige being brought back to SmackDown is going to ignite some excitement, or whatever is left of the women's division, spark some excitement there, and get people excited for WrestleMania. Now, they may be bringing her to SmackDown to announce that at WrestleMania, being that there are several issues going on in and around the women's division on SmackDown, you can make a case for anybody else besides Bayley to be SmackDown Women's Champion. Naomi, Carmella wants a spot. Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke wants a shot at the SmackDown Women's title. Oh my God, honey, this isn't a second serving of cornbread and catering, bro. Titus makes wonderful corn. I love cornbread. I love cornbread, man. Titus makes wonderful cornbread, I hear. Dana Brooke can have seconds of cornbread. She will never get a shot at the SmackDown Women's Championship. Oh my God, man. That's so funny. That's so funny. Lacey Evans. Oh, man, you talk about a comedy act. Oh, it's like I'm watching a sitcom, watching Lacey Evans in the ring, bro. Jesus Christ, the SmackDown Women's Division is awful. Sasha Banks and Bayley, man, I feel so bad for them. I really do. This is what they've surrounded Sasha Banks and Bayley with on SmackDown. And I love Sasha. Don't get me wrong. I could easily say, well, what has Sasha done to get a women's championship match? Nothing. She's been hurt, supposedly, right? But she really hasn't done anything. That's not her fault. It's WWE's fault. And then Bayley. WWE with Bayley's heel turn, they're making me miss babyface Bayley. I'm not buying the heel still after all this time. It's not interesting to me. It's not. I don't get what hasn't worked and why it hasn't clicked. I just don't believe Bayley in that spot. I don't believe Bayley to be nasty. You know, when I first set eyes on Bayley, it was hugs and kisses and fucking fun-loving. She's the female John Cena, right? She's like a role model to all these young girls. And they turned her into a heel, and it just hasn't worked. When I first laid eyes on Sasha, she was a heel. Then she went babyface, but I appreciated Sasha so much as a heel, and I appreciated what she did in the ring as a heel, that when she turned babyface, I was like, I don't really like this. I like her better as a heel, but I'll always love Sasha. So when she flip-flopped, I'm like, it's no big deal. I can believe her as a babyface, I can believe her as a heel, but she's a better heel, obviously. It just hasn't worked for Bayley. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the lack of competition on SmackDown. It sucks. It really does. But Paige is on SmackDown, and it's possible. Now, don't listen to me. I could be wrong at the end of the day. It's absolutely possible that WWE might have changed the standard guidelines for Paige. And maybe they are getting ready to clear her. Maybe they have already cleared her. But she just recently signed a 5-year contract. She re-signed with the company. Now, I don't know why they would want to sign somebody who is nothing more than a WWE backstage correspondent. Why would they sign Paige for 5 years knowing that she cannot wrestle ever again? Give me a break. That's nothing more than a cover-up, as it usually is with this company. They'll tell you one thing, but it really means something else. Paige was signed to a 5-year deal because WWE has it in the back of their minds. They will allow Paige to wrestle with them when they see fit. They're going to lock her down for 5 years because they will allow her to wrestle. If Paige could not wrestle anymore, ever, and their medical staff has deemed this to be true, who gives a shit if she went anywhere else? She ain't going to make a big splash and wrestle anywhere else if WWE doctors say she could risk her life, in the ring. Why would she do that? They signed her to a 5-year deal to stay with the WWE because they already have it in the back of their minds. They will allow Paige to wrestle when they choose. It's going to be on their time, on their watch, and it's going to be when they say. That's why Paige has signed with the WWE. Now, the Paige thing is weird, says Mike Johnson of PW Insider. He says, the Paige thing is weird. A lot of people wrote me like, did she get cleared? Is something up? I haven't heard she's cleared, but in a world where Edge is wrestling Randy Orton at WrestleMania, I don't put anything past WWE, and I think the fact that AEW exists has ultimately changed their parameter in terms of what they're willing to allow talents to do physically in the ring. Oh. So you mean to tell me that Paige staying with the WWE and signing a 5-year deal, and I know I'm more than likely correct on my assessment that she will wrestle again for the WWE in these 5 years. You mean to tell me that the reason why WWE has Paige on TV and may be gearing Paige up to wrestle is because AEW exists? So you mean to tell me that Paige and her situation is a aspect of the AEW effect? I think so. There were chats between Edge and AEW, and magically Edge was cleared to return to the ring. Could similar things happen with Paige? Probably. Might not be this year, but who's to say not next year or the year after that? Who's to say she won't be in the Royal Rumble in 21, 22, right? It's absolutely going to happen. There's no doubt. If Edge and Daniel Bryan, two of the worst cases that we've seen in recent memory, came back, Paige is coming back. Paige will be in the ring again. No doubt in my mind. I'm not stating that they did happen, but I do find it interesting. Either they're doing an angle or they're using Paige as a mouthpiece for the challengers at WrestleMania. Like I said, Paige could be there to build a match with Bayley, highly unlikely. Paige could be there to spark some interest in the women's division, which there is none right now, kinda likely. Or Paige could be there to announce what I'm about to talk about now. It might not be a Paige versus Bayley match, or Paige might not be managing someone to go against Bayley because she's sick of Bayley's antics or bully ways, but Paige could be there to announce what the rumor is now for the women at WrestleMania, a SixPack challenge for the SmackDown women's title. The women's title will be contested in a SixPack challenge. There are major singles matches coming for Bayley and Sasha together. There is a feud being planned for them together. But the thing is, with that, it was a very sticky situation going into WrestleMania. Now, Alex McCarthy of TalkSport, works out of the United Kingdom, is reporting that a SixPack challenge is also planned for WrestleMania 36 with the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. Bayley defending against Sasha, Naomi, Lacey Evans, Carmella, and one more name to be added. We don't know who that name is. Maybe it's Dana Brooke, because that's the only other woman on the active roster that I know of. Now, it could be an NXT talent. Why couldn't it be Bianca Belair? Who knows? Who knows who that last name will be? The original plan was for a singles match with Naomi challenging Bayley, which is not interesting at all. But the title plans for that were changed when it was decided that Naomi would get her shot at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. There's no word on who might be the sixth woman in the SixPack challenge, but it's worth noting that WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix has teased potentially coming back. So we'll see what happens with that. But Beth Phoenix might be put in a tag team title match with Natty on Monday Night Raw. Now, Bayley and Sasha Banks, there is a situation there where the match was going to happen at WrestleMania, but a source told McCarthy that both women, both Sasha and Bayley, made a decision for themselves to hold off on this match until a later date, since they probably wouldn't get enough time on the Mania card. It looks like plans have changed for one of the other planned title matches at WrestleMania 36 as well. Alexa Bliss took to social media to issue a challenge to the Kabuki Warriors. So it looks like Bliss will be in the tag team title match for the women at WrestleMania with Nikki Cross. And the likely match is the best friends, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, against Beth Phoenix and a rumored Natalya pairing. Now, this could be. We've seen a potential storyline develop on Monday Night Raw where Natalya had chosen her partner on Monday Night Raw. It really didn't end up all that well. And I think her partner was Liv Morgan, if I'm not mistaken. Then Ruby Riott fucked everything up, and then Sarah Logan fucked everything up, and it was just a complete clusterfuck. Maybe Natalya is going to go through partners to try and get the one-up on Asuka and Kairi Sane, and the best form of action for that is when all is run through, who are you going to rely on? Someone you know very well, and that is Beth Phoenix. So we could see Natalya and Beth Phoenix ultimately take those tag team titles and be the new flag bearers for the women's tag team division. So, again, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm really not. And I think Asuka and Kairi Sane deserve better, to be perfectly fair with you guys. I think they are embarrassing the Kabuki Warriors. I thought their promo and their segment from Monday Night Raw was one of the worst things on Monday Night Raw all year. It was downright painful to watch. They're laughing and sniveling and fucking snickering in Japanese, and they come off looking like complete dummies. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. It doesn't bring a smile to my face. I got into arguments with these fucking Kairi Sane stan accounts on social media because apparently they still listen to my fucking show. This is like 50 minutes into the review, and people are picking apart what I said. So thank you for watching 50 minutes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's about 7 ads you just went through. Great! Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And I mentioned it was cringe. It was awful. It was pathetic. And then I get people, how could he say that about Kairi Sane? How could he say that about Asuka? I don't give a fuck who you are. I give a fuck if you're Jesus Christ and you ascend down to fucking planet Earth and you're on Monday Night Raw. And if you're in a bad segment, I will call out the bad segment. They're not prone to me and my criticisms. Who the fuck you think I am? You think I'm one of these cocksuckers in the community? You think I'm one of these wrestle geeks? Give me a fucking break. It was garbage. They deserve better. Let me tell you something. When the WWE starts to book Kairi Sane and Asuka better and doesn't start treating them like a fourth-rate fucking iconics, then come talk to me. Garbage. They're losing those titles at WrestleMania, so bid Kairi Sane and Asuka adieu. Kairi Sane can go board her fucking ship and look through the telescope and see where she's going to land next. Hopefully it's out of WWE. Take Asuka with you, too. Moving on. SmackDown's women's division is awful. A six-pack challenge. Yeah, the last time a six-pack challenge was at WrestleMania, what happened? It went right on before the main event, and nobody gave a shit about it. It lasted about 3 minutes. That's what is awaiting these women. That is the fate of these women at WrestleMania. A match with 16 fucking a card with 16 matches on it. You're going to put a six-pack challenge on WrestleMania's card, and nobody's going to give a shit about it. Nobody. It'll be forgotten by the time you get on the train to go to work the next morning. Bullshit. Reason why Heavy Machinery did not win the SmackDown Tag Team titles at the Elimination Chamber. Now, I love Otis. You love Otis. Everybody loves Otis. And the fact that they are not competing for the Tag Team Championships as of yet is very pathetic. It's a very easy story to tell. Now, this weekend at the Elimination Chamber, Otis teamed with Tucker to compete in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Chamber match. Due to his popularity, some speculated that Heavy Machinery might be walking out with the titles going into the Elimination Chamber. Others thought that perhaps Robert Roode, there I go, I fucked him up, Bobby Roode and Otis, well, actually, I'm sorry, I messed up here. Bobby Roode and Dolph would feud with Otis after winning the Tag Team Championships. So they would feud with Heavy Machinery coming out of the Elimination Chamber when they won the Tag Team titles, which is something that I pitched on Sunday when I did my review. This would allow Heavy Machinery to win the Tag Team titles in a feel-good moment at WrestleMania. However, Ziggler pinned Tucker, eliminating Heavy Machinery from the match after Otis went crashing through one of the pods and landed on the outside of the structure. The match was ultimately won by Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! You know, the jingle that was written by a fucking 6-month-old out of the womb. Dave Meltzer is reporting that the plans for Otis and Dolph Ziggler are to go one-on-one at WrestleMania. There were reportedly no plans to have either team win the tag team titles. Meltzer also noted that WWE wants to go in another direction for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I'm sure it is vastly underwhelming and completely irrelevant. Based on the last few weeks of TV, Miz and Morrison will defend against the Usos and maybe the New Day in a triple threat match. Oh, man, that sounds fucking so exciting, man. I can't fucking wait to fall asleep during the tag team fucking championships at WrestleMania. Are you fucking serious? Yes, because it's WrestleMania. Let's give the New Day and the Usos a fucking WrestleMania tag team title shot because they're the Usos and the New Day. And who gives a shit about John Morrison and The Miz? I knew this was coming from Morrison. He died 1,000 deaths on SmackDown. Now, it might just be that he's on SmackDown that he's coming off like a fucking D-level act. The guy is mega talented, but he feels like everybody else, and I knew this was going to happen when they immediately paired him with The Miz. The Miz was ice cold coming into all this. He was just on the verge of kind of maybe being rebuilt. Then they paired him with John Morrison, and boom, John Morrison is now suffering from whatever The Miz is suffering from, and that is just feeling like he's ordinary, like everybody else on the roster. He doesn't feel special. The Miz has never felt special. When has The Miz ever felt special? Never. So John Morrison is suffering from the effects of being paired with The Miz. And this is what they want for the tag team championships at WrestleMania. Instead of Otis and Tucker challenging Rude and Ziggler for the tag team championships at WrestleMania. The story, I get it. Doesn't need it. It's about Otis and his revenge on Dolph for Dolph taking Mandy. I get it. But Otis is so over as a babyface, we want to see him succeed and overcome all these odds so badly that if you had Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode win the tag team titles at the Elimination Chamber, they could be against Heavy Machinery. They could have pinned Heavy Machinery. Or they could have pinned Morrison and fucking Miz for all I care. I don't give a fuck who they pinned, as long as they won the tag team titles. So then Dolph has the girl and the gold. And Otis is looking at this because of whatever happened inside the chamber. He wants a shot at Dolph and Rude, and Heavy Machinery wants the tag team championships. Can you imagine how over Tucker and Otis are right now, and how over Otis is himself going into WrestleMania? How it would have looked and felt if Otis and Tucker won the tag team titles at WrestleMania on the main card, and everybody knows the backstory with him and Mandy, and him needing to get revenge on Dolph, him winning the titles and getting revenge on Dolph and getting Mandy, and they play the story out at WrestleMania where Mandy realizes that Dolph has become just so self-absorbed and he doesn't really give a shit about her. And she realizes that she has a coming-of-age thought and mentality at WrestleMania. She sees clearly at WrestleMania and says, fuck this guy. I'm going to fuck these guys over. Can you imagine Mandy helping Heavy Machinery win the tag team championships at WrestleMania? And then Otis gets the gold, Tucker gets the gold, and Otis gets his girl. Man, oh man, you talk about WrestleMania moments. They dropped the ball on that. That might have been the best WrestleMania moment of the entire season. And they dropped the ball. This is why I complain. They don't make anything special anymore. Yes, I get it. It doesn't need it. But there's no way you can tell me that it wouldn't enhance an already good story where everyone's invested in it. They dropped the ball. That is 100% fact. Why didn't they win the tag team titles? Because WWE would rather go with Miz and Morrison, the Usos, and the fucking New Day at WrestleMania. Same old shit. I don't care. I'm sorry. They fucked up. Speaking of the Usos, they were told they look too much like Roman Reigns. What? Aren't they from the same bloodline? WWE legitimately told the Usos they look too much like Roman Reigns. Change your attire. Roman Reigns obviously comes from a rich wrestling background and a rich wrestling family, which leaves him running the risk of someone else in the business resembling him from time to time because they're all cut from the same bloodline. WWE apparently thought that this was the case back in 2016 when the Usos turned heel. Oh, yeah, when they were actually watchable on TV. I can't stand the Usos now. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy Jay and Jimmy, but I don't think they're really at the level they were. That was on another level. They were must-see TV. Now they're change the channel TV. That's what I feel. So they were on the New Day's podcast recently, and they revealed being asked to change their getup for that very reason, because they resembled Roman Reigns. Jimmy and Jay ditched the face paint 4 years ago and turned heel on SmackDown and took all black clothing and looked like thugs. They were dressing in all black. Reigns, meanwhile, was over on Raw and obviously has his own in-ring style and his own in-ring gear. The Usos were told that they had to come up with more changes because they resembled Roman Reigns too much. So they tell the New Day on Feel the Power, and I quote, "Obviously, for the heel change, we needed to change everything. But they were saying when they had first seen us working in all black, Jay recalled, it was like, you guys look too much like Roman. Don't look like Roman," says WWE. So he says to them, man, who the hell are we supposed to look like? We're in the same gene pool, Us. So Jay also revealed having fought for permission to ditch the face paint, claiming both he and Jimmy really were keen on stopping the practice, which was an important part of their babyface personas. they managed to nail the heel thing down pretty well. And the Usos, I mean, they got similar tattoos to Roman Reigns, and they facially look the same like Roman Reigns. And it's a nod to their Samoan heritage. What the fuck do you expect from these guys? What do you expect, WWE? Look at how clueless they are when it comes to their own fucking talent. You expect these people to write a compelling WrestleMania season? And here they are telling Jimmy and Jay to not look like Roman Reigns. Oh my God, man. Jesus Christ. These people are absolutely fucking brain dead. I don't even know how they wake up and go to work every morning. I don't even know how they put on a show for Monday and Friday 5 hours every week. It's fucking ridiculous. You look too much like Roman Reigns. Unbelievable, man. Let me tell you something, man. I don't want you guys to look like a bunch of bums when you go out and you're sitting down. The weather's getting nicer, okay? You're going to be sitting down at the outside craft beer bars and the beer gardens, and you're going to be having some cold beverages. You're going to be coming in off the beach. You're going to be ordering a nice cold beverage with your wife or your girlfriend, or it might be your kids. I don't know, depending on where you are. And you're going to have a nice little drink presented in front of you by the nice bartender there, wherever you are. It's going to have a nice little umbrella in it, maybe a slice of pineapple, maybe a slice of orange. And when you're done ordering a drink for yourself and your wife or your girlfriend, you're going to get the bill. It's going to be like $36, because they always upcharge you in the summertime because of, the tourism. And you're going to pull out your wallet, and you're going to look at your wallet, and everybody's going to look at your wallet, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this guy? This guy's a fucking bum. Look at his old, raggedy, ripped George Costanza wallet that's 27 years old. Right? Your wallet's older than you. Give me a break. Instead, I want you guys to go and order yourself a cold beverage along with your woman, pull out your Ridge wallet, and make sure you got the nicest wallet in the entire joint. Ridge.com/scripts. They are known for their flagship Ridge wallets. They want to help you carry what you need to every single day from the Ridge wallet. How you carry cash and cards in that wallet to their portable charging commuter backpacks. They want to make the most out of what you're bringing with you, no matter where you are or where you plan to go. I've had the Ridge wallet, man, and I've run into situations like that. I sat down at my favorite beer garden, and I looked at the guys at the bar or sitting across from me, sitting next to me, and I'm on my phone minding my own business. I look over, I hear this guy order a shit beer, number one, and then number two, he pulls out what looks to be a paper clip, and he's got cash and cards and his ID held together by a paper clip. And I'm thinking, what is this guy doing? That is what's going to get you the girl? That is what's going to make you look cool at the bar on the beach? Give me a break, bro. Don't be that clown, please. I love my wallet. I've had it for 2 years. I take it with me everywhere I go. It's super durable. It is reliable. I fit everything I need to in my Ridge wallet. You can carry up to 12 cards, including your ID, and it doesn't bend, it doesn't fold, it doesn't rip, it doesn't scratch, and it's clean and stylish. I love it. And I also love that it has RFID blocking quality, so you guys know that you're getting the safest thing possible for yourself. Your data and your ID and your card information are not going to be compromised whatsoever. The Ridge is so confident that you'll enjoy their product that they've made it as simple as possible. Free shipping so you guys can get it fast. Free returns after 45 days in case you don't like it. And if you do like it, there's a lifetime guarantee no matter what. And there's 30,000 online reviews, so they got a lot to be confident about. Super durable, made from military-grade materials like titanium and carbon fiber, and it's proven to be bulletproof, waterproof, and chainsaw-proof. Guys, it's simple. Ridge.com/scripts. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off and that free shipping. And I want to thank them for supporting Off the Script this weekend for March 13th, 2020. Once again, guys, that is Ridge.com/scripts. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off. And I want to thank them for supporting Off the Script. All right, man, let's hit the second part of this podcast. We got Monday Night Raw to talk about. Brings a smile to my face when I talk about Monday Night Raw in this light, because I know the show sucked on Monday. I felt the show sucked on Monday. I was anticipating a low rating coming out of Monday. And WWE does exactly that. They didn't let me down. I read The Observer, and it brought a smile to my face to see the second lowest number Monday Night Raw drew this year. Raw this week set a couple of new lows, which is nothing new for this show. They're always setting some new lows. That's why they're bringing Austin to 316 Day, because they need to pop a rating. That's exactly why he's there. They also had one of the best ratings patterns in a long time. So kind of negative and kind of positive. The basic gist is that the audience was at a low point, averaging 2.16 million viewers over the 3 hours that Monday Night Raw was on the air Monday. The lowest for a non-holiday show in modern history that didn't have a major competing sporting event. The prior low was a 2.17. That was on February 3rd. So they beat their own non-holiday modern rating ever, not going up against a major sporting event. That is impressive. That is impressive, Mr. Heyman. Awesome. The first hour drew a 2.16. Well, that was also a new low for the non-holiday show without major sports competition, like I said, substantially lower than the previous low mark of 2.25 on February 24. What makes it worse is that the show came the day after a pay-per-view. But the audience held up better than usual. This is where some of the positive comes in. Growing in hour 2 and not falling that much in hour 3. Essentially, it appears that less casual fans watched, but those that did stick with the show were at a greater rate than usual. Raw still took up the 3 top spots in the 18 to 49 rankings. Overall, it was 10th for the day, trailing only news programming. The overall number was down 4% from last week. The first hour is a bad sign because usually after a pay-per-view, the first hour shows a good increase and the overall episode is higher. This indicates there wasn't much interest in the Elimination Chamber follow-up. Are you surprised by this? They didn't put anything into the build-up. What the fuck do you expect to happen in the follow-up? And then after everybody shit on the show on social media, what did you expect? It was the worst show they could have possibly put on during WrestleMania season. Nothing came out of that show worth anything outside of Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak and then Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental Championship. Outside of that, nothing. Nothing. Everybody knew Shayna Baszler was going to win the Elimination Chamber for the Raw Women. There was nothing else on that show. WWE had no WWE Championship match, no Universal Championship match. Nothing. Nothing. What did you expect to happen on this show? Drew McIntyre wasn't there. Roman Reigns wasn't there. What did you expect to happen with the follow-up in this particular instance? Nobody was at the show. What is there to follow up on? Elimination Chamber was nothing more than a Monday Night Raw with 2 steel cage matches. That's all it was. And at the end of the day, I think everybody kind of got the gist of that when the show was over. Now, the overall number was down 4% from last week. Like I said, the second hour being higher than the first hour happens more frequently during daylight savings times, according to Dave Meltzer, and the low first hours because people for the next few months are more likely to start the show later. I think those are excuses. I don't know why Meltzer's making excuses for these people. Yes, it was daylight savings times. It was spring forward. We lost an hour. So if you're still feeling the effects of daylight savings times, I think you need to go get yourself checked out, okay? This is a normal thing with daylight savings. You feel the effects the next day. You either feel a little lethargic like I did, or you get an extra hour of sleep. So why he's using that as an excuse, I have no idea. So the show was down 23% from the same week last year. Almost a fourth of their viewership was down from last year. But it's WrestleMania season, baby. It's WrestleMania season. When you tell Vince McMahon about that, you think he gives a shit? I don't think so. I'd love for you to tell me when WrestleMania season starts happening or when it arrives, because I don't feel anything. I don't feel a goddamn thing in regards to WrestleMania season. So the 8 p.m. hour did a 2.16, 9 p.m. did a 2.22, and 10 p.m. did a 2.11. Man, those Seth Rollins main events, man, they're legitimately killing Monday Night Raw. Yeah, exactly. They're killing the fucking ratings. What do you expect? You got Rollins and his fucking goons in the main event against the Street Profits again, and the Viking Raiders again, and Kevin Owens again. Rollins and Murphy have battled the Street Profits 4 different times in the last 3 weeks. At what point do you ask yourself, should we do this again? Are they going to get bored of the same matches again? Have they asked themselves these questions? Because I know for a fact that when I seen that was the main event, goodbye. Came right in here in front of this microphone, in front of this camera, and recorded early. There you go. This was a waste of a show. There was some highlights on the show. It wasn't a complete shit show. Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, they had, Brock Lesnar wasn't there, but Paul Heyman cut a nice promo via video package. Drew McIntyre talked about his desire to main event WrestleMania ever since he was a young lad. Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler wasn't there. Becky Lynch cut a really intense promo. Finally, after weeks of building towards this possible match at WrestleMania, it was made official at the Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch did not coming out wearing props from Carrot Top's closet. So it was nice to see. She came out and said that she's going to kick Shayna Baszler's ass. The fun and games are over and blah, blah, blah. She hyped up Shayna Baszler as being the cage fighter, and she went over Shayna Baszler's statistics in NXT. Outside of Asuka, there's no woman as dominant as Shayna Baszler. It took Shayna mere minutes to take care of Asuka, and Becky Lynch had battled Asuka all through 2019, through 2020, and she could not overcome Asuka, and it took Shayna just a mere couple of minutes in the Elimination Chamber. They went over all that, which was great. It was great. But the overall show didn't do anything to make you feel excited about WrestleMania whatsoever. Edge being there was great, yeah. Yeah. You know, they had a little back and forth with him and Randy Orton. I did not like the fact that they actually touched, but it wasn't enough to really shit on the overall segments. Edge is not going to get his hands fully on Randy Orton until WrestleMania. That's the story. Randy Orton's going to be, the one who's RKOing this guy and, brutally attacking people from Edge's past and friends and his wife. And now he's going to be a sniveling cocksucker. He's going to be a heel. He's going to be slithering away when he can, and then Edge is finally going to get his hands on him at WrestleMania. That's the whole fucking story now, So I didn't really mind that they touched just a little bit on Monday Night Raw. It wasn't enough to really shit on the segment. The attack on MVP kind of substituted for that. Edge took his frustrations out on MVP, so MVP was used as a nice puppet in that situation. But the overall show, man, it was just not good. It was just boring. It was unexciting. And 3 segments out of 16 does not make a good show. So for all the elitists out there, for the analysts, and for everybody who wants to just live in this fucking positivity, there's nothing positive about it. There's nothing positive about WrestleMania season. I think the majority of the fucking community feels the same way that I do. When WrestleMania is starting to feel like WrestleMania, and WrestleMania season starts feeling like WrestleMania season, please let me know. Because I don't know where the fuck it is. It's like I'm walking and I feel nothing. It's like I'm walking into the lost woods and I'm trying to find my way. I can't find my way. Where's the right path? I don't feel nothing. It's downright deplorable that this is what they think about WrestleMania. WrestleMania, WWE's taking their fans for granted. They are absolutely taking their fans for granted. They are selling this shill of a show based on the fact that it's WrestleMania. It is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. And they got people coming in from all over the world, and they got people flying from all over the world, and they're risking people's health and their livelihoods to come watch this fucking pathetic card that is, if you look at the card, the top 6 matches on this show have a fucking part-timer in every match. But John Cena's about the future. Right? WWE's about the future. Sure they are. Monday Night Raw sucked. And I'm sure it will continue to suck all the way up until WrestleMania. Speaking of Edge, his next appearance for Raw has been announced. That is, if they have Monday Night Raw or have a WrestleMania, WWE is slated to hold a March 23rd episode of Raw in Fort Worth, Texas at the Dickies Arena. The promotional material for the show has been updated with Edge now being listed on the show. Also, advertised as Brock Lesnar and Shayna Baszler the cage fighter, Shayna Baszler, or the Queen of Spades, which I prefer better. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Street Profits defend against Rollins and Murphy. Becky Lynch versus Asuka is being locally advertised for the show. I don't think those matches, I hope to God not. I hope to fucking God not. Rollins and Murphy versus the Street Profits. Are you fucking kidding me? Why would Randy Orton be fighting Drew McIntyre on the road to WrestleMania when they both have marquee matches at WrestleMania? None of them can afford to lose. Well, we got to see a fifth match between these two teams? And then Becky Lynch versus Asuka? Asuka has absolutely nothing to do with Becky Lynch. So why are we going to get those matches? Those are either A, dark matches, or B, they were just thrown on the marquee and thrown on the advertisements for the Dickies Arena to sell tickets to this shit show. That's the only reason why that was done. Edge will be on the March 23rd episode, so that leaves 2 weeks before WrestleMania. So he will be there. We seen him on this past Monday. He's going to take the week off. He'll be back the next week, and I'm sure he'll make that go-home edition as well. AJ Styles was another thing about Monday Night Raw that I liked. Some people did not like the fact that he cut a promo mentioning The Undertaker's marriage with Michelle McCool. Some people did not like the fact that AJ Styles used The Undertaker's real name, a.k.a. Mark Calloway. Thank you to all my local goons in the comment section of the Monday Night Raw review on the channel that have informed me that was not the first time that Mark Calloway's name was mentioned on WWE TV. There was one other time, I believe, regarding Ken Shamrock, if I'm not mistaken. So, thank you to everybody that has corrected me on that. I had no idea about that. And I'm sure I watched it. I just, it's so long ago that you forget. So, the power of the internet and the power of Team JD. So, thank you guys so very much for correcting me on that. I had no idea on that. But, regardless of that, AJ Styles mentioned The Undertaker's real name on Monday Night Raw. And I did not mind it. The old me would have reminded, or the old me would have minded it, per se. I would have been upset about it. I would have been a traditionalist in this instance, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Because if you think about it long and hard enough, that's what she said. How to get that in there. If you think about it long enough, what else are they going to build this story on? Like, realistically, what are they going to build this story? It's AJ Styles and The Undertaker. What do they have there? They're two vastly different guys. Never crossed paths with each other. Never had a one-on-one match before outside of the 1 minute that AJ Styles was embarrassed in Saudi Arabia, which really doesn't get me all that excited for this match, but this promo helped. They have nothing else. Going into this, they had nothing. Then they had that two-week trophy. It's not going to build intrigue for an AJ Styles Undertaker match. You got to go to the depths in which made The Undertaker's character The Undertaker. You got to go to that level where it just kind of brings us back to the old school just a little bit. And that's why I'm making this the top story today on the podcast. There's a stipulation potentially about to be added. What else were you going to tell as far as the story goes? I like that AJ went personal. I like the fact that AJ mentioned The Undertaker and him stealing spotlights away and being back every year, and that Michelle McCool is an enabler. Because she knows, I'm sure she knows, seeing The Undertaker go through surgery and hip replacements and have a 30-year career, that she is enabling him. She will not talk to him about stepping away, and he's just going to continue do, and he's going to continue being back every single year until he comes to the conclusion that he's done. But every time he comes back, it's a real-life thing. It's a real-life feeling in the community. He's back. I think a lot of people are in the same boat. They don't want to see The Undertaker wrestle anymore at WrestleMania. They would rather him sit at home. It doesn't need The Undertaker. WrestleMania does not need The Undertaker. More importantly, people don't want The Undertaker to put on a subpar match at WrestleMania, taking a spotlighted spot or a match away from somebody else who's there every single week, full-time. Someone on the active roster, a lot younger, that deserves an opportunity to be on WrestleMania. And I also don't mind, because The Undertaker has kind of shed the dark side a little bit. He's become a little bit more humanized. And that was a call that he made. That was a call he made. You know? I don't even think Vince McMahon would allow The Undertaker to go and do what he did. When did you ever think The Undertaker would sit down and have a 3-hour sit-down with Stone Cold Steve Austin talking about road stories and locker room stories and injuries and match outcomes and what could have been and what should have been and what actually happened? You know? When did you ever think The Undertaker would have a Twitter? When did you ever think The Undertaker would tweet WWE? When did you think The Undertaker would ever have an Instagram where he's showing off how he exercises and how he diets? You figured he'd be posting pictures of caskets and ghouls and cemeteries and fucking funeral homes on social media. Undertaker's a regular guy like me and you. I could walk into a local Starbucks and order a fucking chai latte. Soy, 180 degrees, no foam, please. And an extra pump. You know, that's The Undertaker we're getting. That's The Undertaker that we're getting on social media. So why not? Why not? I think it's the only way they could go. I don't like the match at all. I don't think the match is a marquee WrestleMania match. I could have come up with 3 other matches. In fact, I did come up with 3 other matches that are a lot better. I would rather see AJ versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. I would, instead of The Undertaker. But this is what we're getting. And it's the only reason that we're getting this. The only reason why we're getting this is because WWE is right now in the midst of pitching WrestleMania to ESPN Plus. And what's going to look better on the marquee? An Aleister Black versus an AJ Styles, or an AJ Styles versus an Adam Cole, or an Undertaker that the casual fans know, oh, look, The Undertaker, he's still wrestling, versus AJ Styles. So with The Undertaker being in the condition that he's in, and AJ Styles being the guy that The Undertaker has handpicked, right? He wants that Shawn Michaels level caliber athlete like he used to have back in the day, and he sees a lot of Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles. A lot of us do. There might be a stipulation in this match. Now, during this week's Raw episode, AJ Styles took several shots at The Undertaker and his real-life wife, Michelle McCool. Styles even vowed to literally put the nail in The Undertaker's coffin. Now, a lot of people are taking this to be a big figure of speech here. Or literally, they're legitimately taking this line and they're making something out of it, and it's become a big rumor going into WrestleMania. This obviously has led to speculation that Styles and The Undertaker's match would be contested in a casket match. Now, that would make sense. That would really, really make sense. Because you got the OC who are inevitably going to fucking interfere in this thing. Aleister Black does not have a WrestleMania role. It would be easy for him to get involved because it's no DQ. The Undertaker is in a no DQ situation in a casket match with AJ Styles. So all those parties could be involved. I remember back in 1994, man, during the Royal Rumble, it was Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette managing Yokozuna, and I go back and watch it every now and then. The Undertaker fought off every heel in the locker room. They were legitimately bought off by Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji to come out here and just take advantage of the casket match stipulation, right? The only other casket match that I seen up until that point as a young kid was the one with Kamala at the 1991 Survivor Series. Then we see another one in 1994, double deep and double wide casket built specifically for Yokozuna because he was 550 pounds. You're a young kid watching this shit. You're not thinking about, oh my God, there's no DQ. Anything can happen. At that point, you're thinking The Undertaker is going to bury fucking Yokozuna in this casket and win the WWE Championship. And then right before our very eyes, this motherfucker, we all hated Mr. Fuji. Look at what he's doing. He's exploiting the rules. And it was legal. And then The Undertaker was buried. He went to have a sabbatical. And he was back fighting himself at SummerSlam. With fucking Leslie Nielsen finding who the real Undertaker is. But watching that as a young kid, you didn't think about those stipulations. All you thought was, oh man, The Undertaker's going to win the WWF title. He's going to bury Yokozuna in this double deep, double wide casket. You seen The Undertaker building the fucking casket in the weeks leading up to the Royal. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic stuff. I would love to see shit like that here. They don't do that anymore. They don't even make it special. Oh, The Undertaker's got an Instagram. The Undertaker's being enabled by his wife. Go to that link to make it special, man. Nothing stands out. I would love to see The Undertaker build some fucking caskets for AJ. So make it a black fucking casket with his logo on it. You know, make it a phenomenal casket. Something. I would love it. So people took this promo by AJ and they're legitimately turning it into a big rumor. So Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer newsletter, or the Wrestling Observer radio show, reported that a casket match is not in the plans. It remains to be seen, actually, if there will be a stipulation added or if it will just be a regular singles match. The two superstars will meet in a contract signing on Monday. We don't know if it's going to be in Pittsburgh or if it's going to be at the Performance Center. The build-up to their match began at Super Showdown when The Undertaker made a surprise appearance to defeat AJ Styles in a six-man gauntlet match for the two-week worthless trophy. The Phenom was also attacked by Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and Styles at Sunday's Elimination Chamber, helping Aleister Black score the pinfall over Styles. He eventually turned everything around and got Aleister Black the win. The Undertaker was surprisingly absent from the WrestleMania card last year, though he returned soon after for matches at Super Showdown 2019, the embarrassment with Bill Goldberg, and the Extreme Rules match, which was actually pretty damn good with Roman Reigns. He teamed with Roman Reigns to defeat Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. It was reported last month that The Undertaker had major say in Styles being named as his WrestleMania opponents, and The Undertaker views Styles as a modern-day Shawn Michaels. So that is why we are getting that match mixed with everything else that is potentially going on with the WWE selling their pay-per-view rights. Casket match makes sense. I don't expect WWE to do it because they don't have a grasp on what makes things special or epic anymore. I think it would absolutely be a marquee match if that is the case. It would fit into the rules based on who's going to be involved. It gets the OC involved. It gets Aleister Black involved. You might get Kane involved. Have fun with it. WWE doesn't know how to have fun anymore. The Undertaker's just going to be The Undertaker in 2020. He's going to come out. He's going to do his little thing, his entrance, and, you know, it's not going to be, you know, exciting because we've seen it 1,000 fucking times before. But if we see The Undertaker in his own elements, just to take on the old school a little bit with AJ Styles, you know, it could be a lot of fun if it was a casket match. I doubt they do it. There is a rumor out there, and I think WWE should absolutely explore that as being an option, especially with The Undertaker being 53 years old or however old he is. You know, he might not be in the best shape come WrestleMania. It would give him an easy out to do what he needs to do and work with AJ in a no DQ situation instead of trying to mimic what he did with Shawn Michaels, which if he does is going to be an ultimate fail. You're not going to duplicate those matches. Nobody could duplicate those matches. So don't even think about it. But that's my take on that. Let me know what you guys think about a potential casket match with The Undertaker and AJ Styles. Erick Rowan, his gimmick was killed off on Monday. Erick Rowan was bringing a mysterious cage to the ring for months on Raw. He didn't reveal what he was bringing to the ring, but he killed any enhancement talent that they found at the local Acme, Stop and Shop, Petco, Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts, Bob's Discount Furniture, Raymore and Flanagan, Target, Walmart, PetSmarts, Michaels. The list goes on and on. They scoured the globe at all these major retail outlets to find enhancement talent for Erick Rowan. So, Brad Shepard. I know you guys don't like Brad Shepard. I got to give him a shout out. Because he's the only one. I mentioned this on Monday last week. He's the only one that reported Rowan's cage was going to house a spider. This was weeks ago, back in late January, early February. This was. Brad Shepard reported weeks ago that Rowan had a spider in the cage. It turned out that Rowan had a spider in the cage. Now, unless he doesn't know anybody, he's a fucking genius. If he doesn't know anybody, he's Nostradamus. So that's a very difficult thing to just come out there and say, oh yeah, Rowan's gonna have a spider in the fucking cage. Give me a break. Give the man his props. He called it. He got it right. So enough of the bullshit. You might not like him. Nobody will like him. He's probably vilified till the end of fucking earth on social media, but he got it right. Now, 1 week following Rowan's big reveal, of this robotic spider that they found at the dollar store. His cage was crushed by Drew McIntyre. And Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer explained why Vince McMahon simply woke up one morning and likely decided that the spider had to go. He says, and I quote, "Whatever it was, Vince made the decree last week that it was over. It was stupid. Might as well get out of it. The segment was terrible." End quote. There you go. I said the same thing on Monday. It's as if they knew it was terrible, and WWE looked for any way to kill Erick Rowan's gimmick. So it was noted that when Erick Rowan's storyline started, I'm sure when they started this story, they had an ending. It was probably more like 90% that they knew it was going to be a spider. The problem was that Vince McMahon just woke up one morning and decided we're ending it. No, Meltzer. They woke up and they had no idea what was going to be in the cage. They had no plan for Erick Rowan. And then they realized, let's do a spider. Let's have fun with it. Everybody shit on it. They knew it was trash and they killed it. There you go. So if you house a pet spider at home, it might have tugged on your heartstrings. Other than that, good riddance. Erick Rowan, his spider, and this gimmick are now completely dead on Monday Night Raw. Speaking of dead on Monday Night Raw, let's talk about Ricochet. Ricochet wants to go back to NXT. Oh, really? Why do you say that, Mr. Rick O'Shea? So let's go back into the time machine. Let's talk about how at Super Showdown, Ricochet lost a WWE Championship match to Brock Lesnar where he got zero offense. Many fans were unhappy about A, him getting the title shot, and then B, even more unhappy that he got no offense against Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown. Many were hoping Ricochet would start to gain some momentum and start to be rebuilt on Monday Night Raw. However, he is a former United States champion, a former North American champion, a former phenom on the indies and in NXT. What does WWE do after his zero offense effort against Brock Lesnar? He loses to Riddick Moss in a 24/7 championship match. Now, this was a lose-lose situation. He wins, and he wins a title that was won by Santa Claus. He loses to a champion that's holding a championship won by fucking Santa Claus. Can't win. Even though Riddick Moss is very impressive. Riddick Moss has got a lot going for him. You might not see it now, but Riddick Moss is very impressive. And I honestly think that if WWE brought this guy up with any plan whatsoever, I mean, they paired this guy with fucking Mojo Rawley. You're asking for a death sentence? You can't get any worse than that. Jesus Christ. So Riddick Moss, hopefully he finds himself some success. He looks the part. He is very good in the ring. And I loved when he was in NXT. They had this thing going on with Riddick Moss where he had the Riddick regimen. And they just bailed on it. And now he's on the main roster. Now he got demoted. But I read even months ago that Riddick Moss was turning heads in WWE. Everybody spoke so highly of him. And this is the reason why he's here. They might be using this as a platform for Riddick Moss to get him to a point where they want him to be. And they're kind of testing him a little bit. They're putting him in the worst of the worst right now to see how he handles it. And if he doesn't complain and he does what he is told, he might be moving on to bigger and better things. Who knows? I would like to see that happen. He's very impressive, like I said. As if that wasn't bad enough for Mr. Rick O'Shea. Rick O'Shea wasn't even booked to appear on Monday this Raw, this past week. Now, he wrestled Eric Young prior to the show in a main event taping. Someone of Ricochet's caliber certainly doesn't belong on fucking main event, Vince. Despite being a favorite of executive director Paul Heyman, Ricochet has reportedly not won over Vince McMahon. It has been reported that Vince is actively trying to bury Ricochet. So we spoke to WJLA, and Ricochet revealed that he'd love to go back to NXT if the company allowed him to. Oh, really? This was the same Ricochet that cried on social media when he beat Bobby Lashley. And I am never in a situation to defend Bobby Lashley, but Jesus Christ. You could have given us Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown, but they opted to go with Ricochet and have him beat Bobby Lashley and then get zero offense against Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown. So not only did you embarrass Ricochet, but you kind of buried Bobby Lashley even further than he was already buried. Don't you think Bobby Lashley would have been a better suitable fucking choice against Brock Lesnar? Doesn't make sense to me. This is the guy that complained when he won the opportunity to face Brock Lesnar. Aren't you guys happy with anything? Talking about the fans on social media because we knew what was coming. It was inevitable, Rick. It was inevitable. We were only looking out for you, bro. We were only looking out for you. You know, Casey's not the only one looking out for you, man. People legitimately care about you. They want to see you succeed. So when he called the fans out, people got on his case. Then he lost. Now he's being buried. And this is what he says. For sure, that's a place I'd love to go. I call it home for me. It was a place I enjoyed thoroughly when I was being there. And now they have more exposure on the USA Network every Wednesday. I think that's huge too. So for me, for sure, anytime they need a hand from me, I'll be there, no problem. Oh yeah? Yeah, go ask. Wait till someone in WWE gets a load of what he said here. The burial will be even worse. You're going to talk about a double-wide, double-deep casket for Yokozuna. Motherfucker, you're going to need a fucking quadruple-wide, quadruple-deep casket for Ricochet. Holy shit. And you're not going to need any of Jim Cornette and fucking Mr. Fuji's goons. This is a one-on-one burial. Vince McMahon will bury Ricochet even further after this interview. Okay, go ask. Go ask, Rick. Go ask Vince or fucking Bruce or anybody in charge over there. NXT, you know, they don't have the proper tasting wood down at NXT. You're going to get your proper nutrition over on Monday Night Raw. You know. Yeah, go ask. See what they do to you. They'll laugh right in your fucking face. Kevin Dunn will be brushing his fucking teeth while you ask. He doesn't give a shit. So Ricochet, then, after this interview, tries to be all positive, tries to take what the fans are telling him and spin it into this positive light. Ricochet told fans to be happy that he gets to perform for them every single week and that he will bounce back. Where you bouncing to, bro? Where are you going to bounce? To main event? To Superstars back to main event? They'll put him on 205 Live. They're going to bounce him from main event to 205 Live. This guy will be in the ring with Sunil Singh. Oh my God, this guy is a fucking loser, dude. I love Ricochet. But man, oh man, what did you do? The boyhood dream comes true. If your boyhood dream is to be buried by your boss because of your weight and your skin color, I don't know, man. Please, never allow that to be my fucking boyhood dream. I'll tell my son, whenever I have a son, that if he wants to be a pro wrestler, not to go to WWE. Well, Vince McMahon at that point will be dead, hopefully. But Jesus Christ, where's he going to bounce back from? Where's he going to bounce to? Jesus Christ. He says, okay, I just want to say everyone should be happy that I get to perform for you all week because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me in what capacity. This is exactly what I stated. I stated, when I look at Ricochet, I look at somebody who's just happy to be there. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. So let's celebrate and not dwell on anything else. Hashtag life is great, he wrote. Oh, yeah? What is Lacey? Oh, Lacey. Jesus, cool. Lacey. Holy shit. Let me take a sip of this beverage, man. I need to clear my fucking mind of Lacey and anything to do with Lacey. Hold on. Life is great, he says. Man, what is Casey doing for you after work, bro? Hopefully she's taking care of you. Hopefully she's taking care of you, man. Anyway, I want to see Ricochet do what he is best at, but it's never going to happen on Monday Night Raw at all. It seems like the AOP will never be where we expected them to be, being a dominating team coming up from NXT. Rezar is injured again. It was noted on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio that Rezar of the Authors of Pain is currently on the shelf with a torn bicep. I knew he was hurt because he was wrestling the whole match like this. He was just with his arm close to his chest, doing literally everything. And the longer the match went, he probably hurt the injury more. So the injury reportedly happened during Monday Night Raw in Washington. And it was an 8-man tag where we saw AOP, Seth Rollins, and Murphy against Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. So the injury reportedly happened when he took a crossbody from Montez Ford. As of this writing, there's no timetable for Razor's return. He's expected to be off TV for quite some time as well. So this is not good for Akam, and this is not good for Rollins. So he's clearly going to need some other goons to back him up. Typically, this type of injury will put talent on the sidelines for 6 to 8 months. He tore his pec. Man, oh man, oh man. There is speculation that he could avoid surgery to repair the tear, but he will still sit out for a few months should that happen. This comes after AOP was put with Rollins after a long hiatus, and that's when Akam, I'm sorry, I misquoted myself. It was Akam that needed knee surgery, and now Rezar is hurt, man. They can't catch a break whatsoever. Holy shit. So, I don't know where they go from here. Things will certainly look to be changing on Raw with Rollins and how they handle this. You know, they had no tag teams to begin with. Now they're down one legit tag team. And just imagine this. Imagine if we did not get a rehash main event that we've been watching for the last 2 months on Monday. This could have been avoided. Imagine that. Doesn't WWE look fucking stupid now? Awful, awful, awful situation for Rezar of the AOP. WWE backstage, they draw a low number yet again. Numbers are in for this week's WWE Backstage. It's bad news. This week's episode featuring AJ Styles as the special guest drew 56,000 viewers. Xavier Woods also appeared on the show, and WWE used him to announce that they signed Rob Gronkowski. Another laughable fucking signing. We'll talk about that tomorrow. The viewership for this week's show would make it the least watched episode since they debuted in November. And for comparison, last week's show, I reported last week, apparently a new number came out the day after I recorded the podcast, which is not surprising because I knew it was a possible fuck-up, but I wasn't going to go back and report it because who cares, really? Last week's show drew 56,000, so this show drew 56,000, and off the script, every single weekend is doing more viewership than WWE Backstage. There you go. I'll do the Tommaso Ciampa. Who cares? Nobody's watching WWE Backstage, and, man, AJ Styles, that bodes well for him going into his match with the fucking Undertaker at WrestleMania, right? Yeah. AEW and NXT ratings are down due to the coverage surrounding the outbreak on a night where most of the viewing audience was concerned with other things going on in the world, not professional wrestling. Wednesday's ratings took a big hit for AEW and NXT. Did AEW lose? Of course not. AEW Dynamite averaged 766,000 viewers on TNT, down 15% from last week. In the 18 to 49 demo, the show was down over 25%, averaging just a 0.26 rating. That's AEW's second lowest number ever in that category, nearly matching the 0.25 show the show did, rating the show did on December 18th. NXT was down just 2.9%, averaging 697,000 viewers. In the 18 to 49 demo, the show averaged a 0.21 rating, down 8.7% from last week. That's NXT's lowest number in that category since January 15. Dynamite ranked 25th on cable in the 18 to 49 demographic, while NXT was 42nd. Both were well lower than usual, and the shows were obviously hit the hardest in the 18 to 49 demo. New shows, obviously, were way up concerning the outbreak and the news around that, and everybody looking for information on that. Wednesday is when everything broke, so as soon as everybody seen it on social media, they rushed to watch the local news and see what was going on there. And then the president's address to the nation aired directly opposite both AEW and NXT, so it's not looking good for this week's ratings surrounding AEW and NXT. It was just a miserable week. Real life situations have put wrestling on the back burner for now. AEW won every demo except for the people over 50. So that is the usual here for NXT. NXT squeaked out a small win there with a 0.34 rating to Dynamite's 0.33. AEW's biggest demo was Men 18 to 49, where they averaged 0.35 to NXT's 0.26. The Miz and Mrs. episode that followed NXT, they were not available for ratings, and the show fell out of the top 50 for the top 150 for the first time ever. Who cares? Anybody watch Miz and Mrs. here? Probably not. Quickly, guys, I got some very important news on AEW. If you don't like AEW, so be it. But I know there are some people out there that are looking for information, and I got it all here right now. If you're going to the shows in Newark, if you're going to the shows in Rochester, got a ton of information for you. So don't go nowhere, okay? Tony Khan says talent can miss shows because of the outbreak. Now, as the plot thickens here with this stuff and everything that's happening in the real world, AEW president and CEO Tony Khan told his talent where he stands on the illness. Khan has told AEW wrestlers that they are absolutely free to stay home and not travel to next week's Dynamite if they are concerned about a possible illness. This was revealed by Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, who also noted that the talent's pushes and positions on the roster will not be affected if they choose not to travel. So Tony Khan is absolutely looking out for his talent. That is a gentleman. I love hearing that. He is looking out for his talent. Pushes will not be stopped. Your ranking will not be affected. Your position in the company on TV will not be affected if you choose not to travel. It's a real-life situation, and it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. AEW released a statement a couple of days ago declaring that its events would continue as planned. This has obviously changed. So, as it stands, AEW has made changes. WrestleMania is still scheduled to go on as planned, but they will reconvene in Tampa next week. I'll talk about that tomorrow on OTS. AEW Dynamite is not happening in Rochester, New York. According to Ticketmaster, next week's AEW Dynamite will not be taking place in Rochester, New York. For fans in Rochester, the show will be postponed until July 8th. However, AEW does have plans to run a show this coming Wednesday, and they will be at the Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. So that is confirmed. The venue is owned by the Khan family, so it's their safe space like WWE has the Performance Center. So the July 8th episode of Dynamite that I don't know where they were emanating from, everything got pushed back. The Rochester show that was happening next week is now on July 8th. Your tickets for that show will be redeemed at the door on July 8th. So I want you guys to be aware of that. Now, the messed up thing is, this is what I feel sorry for the most. AEW has postponed Blood and Guts. Now, this is what they say, and I got everything queued up here on AEW's official Twitter account. They mentioned Daly's Place, July 8th. Rochester is the new date for that. Fans who have already purchased tickets to the Rochester show will be offered a refund via the point of purchase or have their original ticket valid for admission to the event on July 8th. Additional details will be forthcoming. In addition, the Dynamite show on March 25th at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey will be relocated to a new venue, which will be announced shortly. This show will be televised on TNT on March 25th and will be managed under a restricted attendance policy. The Dynamite show in Newark will be rescheduled for Wednesday, July 22nd at the Prudential Center. Fans who have already purchased tickets to the Newark show will be offered a refund via the point of purchase or have their original ticket valid for admission to the event on July 22nd. Additional details will be forthcoming. That is it. What I am very sorry about is for everybody that went to that or wanted to go to that Prudential Center show on March 25th. You were going to be given Blood and Guts. You were going to be given War Games, AEW's version of War Games. Now you will not be getting any type of War Games whatsoever. And the messed up thing is, that show was completely sold out. That was going to be AEW's biggest crowd ever for a Dynamite show, topping the first debut episode in Washington, D.C. It's a sad situation. I feel so bad for the fans who were having their hearts set on Blood and Guts, and now you're not getting Blood and Guts. If AEW has shown us anything in the recent weeks, they do listen to fan feedback. It might be another theme show in replace of the Blood and Guts. I don't know. I'm not saying that is going to be for sure, but if Tony Khan is taking care of this situation the way that he is, and he's being very heartfelt to his roster, and AEW is being very heartfelt for the fans, knowing that this is nobody's fault whatsoever, they may try and have another themed show on that July 22nd show, which would make sense because you're coming out of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing's on Memorial Day. You're going to be looking at doing a build towards All Out for Labor Day weekend. They don't have another pay-per-view planned at all, from Double or Nothing to All Out. You got May 25th or so, May 22nd, somewhere in that vicinity for Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, and then Labor Day weekend in September. So all that time, you're not going to have any pay-per-view. They might have a pay-per-view themed Dynamite on that July 22nd show so that it gives you guys a sense of, wow, they're really making it up to us. Wow, they're really giving us something special to come out here and see, even though we didn't get War Games or Blood and Guts. So if I know anything about AEW and I know how Tony Khan operates, and we've seen how the Bucks and Omega and Cody have been so vocal and appreciative of the fan feedback, you guys might be getting something in Newark, New Jersey on July 22nd. Now, the Rochester show, if Brody Lee was set to debut, which everybody is speculating at this point, the massive pop that he would have got being a hometown guy would have been phenomenal. So now they're moving this show next week, which was more than likely going to include a debut by Brody Lee, possibly just Brody Lee himself, possibly as the Exalted One, we don't know. Now it's going to be in a smaller audience. It's going to be restricted. It's not going to come off as good on TV if it's a restricted audience, and you're going to have this big name make a debut on Dynamite, and it's not going to feel special or big at all. Again, it's nobody's fault. But I'm just glad that they have a safe space in Daly's place, and it's like their version of the PC, and they're going to make everything right. Everything is just simply being pushed back until all of this kind of dies down and everything is able to resume as regularly scheduled. So it's a sad situation here with what's going on, but, you know, a lot of these states, a lot of these governors and political figures, they're just stopping gatherings of 50 people or more for entertainment events. In New York, I think they are limiting it to, I think, a maximum capacity of 250. Whereas, you know, it was anything over 500 will be illegal until everything dies down. So they're not taking any you know, situation here lightly. They're going about it as code red could be. Subways might be shut down in New York City. It's crazy. It really is crazy, you know. But all I could say is you guys will be taken care of if you're going to Dynamite. Just take the proper precautions. Wash your hands. Do what you got to do. You know, don't become one of the Walking Dead out there. It's some scary stuff. And this is what, you know, this is what the government wants. They want to strike fear and create mass hysteria. And they get a kick out of it. The government gets a kick out of this shit. You know, a lot of people, you got your people who are living and dying by what you see on the news, and then you got your people who are, oh, this is a hoax, oh, this is not real, you know, it's not as serious as everybody's making it out to be, just take the proper precautions, the flu is killing more people, heart disease kills more people, cancer kills more people, this and that, you know, when have you guys ever made a big deal about the fucking flu before, right? Order through chaos. This is what they want. This is what the government wants. These are what the people who run this country want. Something bigger is coming. I don't know what it is, but the thing that is scaring you, yeah, it's scary. Nobody wants to get sick. Nobody wants to be detained. Nobody wants to be quarantined. You know? Nobody wants to be under house arrest. Nobody wants to have their livelihood fucking compromised by something they don't know. The scariest thing about it all is the uncertainty of it all. We don't know what it is. We don't know what we have to do. We're getting information from this and that. Misinformation going around everywhere. It's the uncertainty that is scaring everybody. And just go about your normal days, you know? Take proper precautions. If you're going to the gym, sanitize, wipe down everything, you know? If you're out and about, don't touch nobody, wear gloves, no shaking hands, you know, do the elbow, do the Howie Mandel. You know, Howie Mandel wears fucking, we're all Howie Mandel now, you know? I met Howie Mandel once. I seen he wears gloves out in public. You got to give him a fist bump. That's all they do. You know, that's it. Just take the proper precautions, man. Seriously, everything will be all right. And like I said, I wanted to have a regular show here like I usually do every Friday and just clear everybody's mind. Hopefully you had a good time. We got a good episode in today, and I got more coming tomorrow where we'll really dive into the outbreak and what it means for WrestleMania and what WWE is going to do if WrestleMania is canceled, worst scenario canceled, or pushed back to a June or July WrestleMania, which would be terrible if you're sitting out in Tampa in 100-degree heat. Oh, my goodness, man. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow, and that'll be on tomorrow's episode of OTS. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here. If you did enjoy the podcast, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want more, I got more coming. Don't worry. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JD206. Check out all the other videos that you might have missed down below. Follow me on social media at JD206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And the most important thing of all, we got The Ridge. TheRidge.com/script. Shout out to them. They've been nothing but gracious and supportive of Off the Script, and I want to thank them each and every week for supporting the show. And you guys can get your own Ridge wallet and everything else that they offer. They got knives, backpacks, charging blocks, you name it, man. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off. Guys, I will see you right back here on Saturday afternoon with more OTS and what is going to be a very busy wrestling weekend. Until then, guys, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you right back here on part 2 of episode 317.